Joining me on the show tonight are Subramanyam. He is a former secretary to the Government of India. Riya Singh is a Dalit rights activist. JS Rajput is a former director of NCERT. We have Shivam Singh Thakur. He is the co-founder of Swarna Army. And Sneshish Das is a research student of the Jawaharlal Nehru University. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Subramanyam. How do you respond to critics alleging that the UGC's 2026 equity regulations lack penalties for false complaints? And in fact, it will end up overburdening institutions with vague discrimination definitions and perhaps even potentially harass general category students.
Yeah, so I have read this regulation and I have also compared with the 2012 regulation. As you know, this is not the first time that UGC has issued a regulation. The 2012 was the first comprehensive effort of the UGC to prevent discrimination on the campus. So I have compared both the drafts, and a few things come out very, very clearly. First thing is that there is discrimination on the campus. I mean, we must be alive to the fact that many scheduled caste students, especially, face a lot of difficulty in the campus in in order to move around with others. So it is not this particular regulation has not come out of thin air. It has evolved over a time, and it is based on several Supreme Court observations from time to time.
That's right.
The entire Rohit Vemula case, the Supreme Court has passed several orders and several times observations stating that the UGC's regulation of 2012, although it is a very comprehensive and forward-looking one, it lacked any implementation system or an institutional mechanism. So that particular gap has been filled by this 2026 regulation. So my first observation is that it has not come out of thin air.
Okay.
It has arisen out of the requirement, and it is based on Supreme Court order. So to that extent, I see absolutely nothing wrong with this regulation. However, there are some very disturbing tendencies in this. As you know, 2012 regulation basically looked at the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe discrimination on the campus. We all know that a serious problem exists there. But here, this particular regulation has added virtually everybody, EWS, OBCs, who never faced the caste-based, the untouchability sort of a situation in our society.
Okay.
So expanding this to close to about 92% of the student population doesn't make any sense. So I don't know on what basis they have expanded this definition to include so many categories. It in fact defeats the focus on the most aggrieved sections, that is the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes.
Okay, so two big takeaways from that, from what Dr. Subramanyam, in fact, R. Subramanyam has said. Perhaps, Mr. Rajput, you'll be able to answer that. It has arisen out of requirement, and second, there are challenges. There is also, by including 90 to 95% people on the campus, it has that issue of problems rather than really ensuring that there are solutions and equity or the larger aim is achieved.
Yes, a very important point has emerged. That the original draft prepared by the NCERT, by the UGC,
yes,
did not include OBC. When the draft went to the committee, Standing Committee on Education and Other Areas, headed by Sri Riya Singh, it recommended inclusion of the OBC.
Okay.
And UGC also included it. But that perhaps was not necessary. And that is the major cause because of which the left outs, the suburbs as they are called, they are very much disturbed. Now what happens? In 1871 there was a Criminal Tribes Act, and certain tribes were declared to be criminals. Everybody was supposed to be criminal. Now what you have done? You have put up a small chunk of certain upper caste, and they feel that we have been identified, we have been maligned, as if we are the only culprits, treating all others in an unacceptable, socially unacceptable manner. Well, things have happened. Everybody accepts it. The constitution makers accepted it, including the constitution, and everybody has accepted SC, ST reservations. Everybody has accepted. Everybody tried to help. There would be exceptions, negative exceptions, as well as positives. I have headed an institution, regional institute, which had children from at least 8 to 9 states every
Right.
year.
Right.
And I know how to handle it. Now, here everything gets centralized. This is another issue. Let the vice chancellors, let the heads of institutions have their autonomy, find out ways and means. UGC could assist, not be the supervisory centralized agency. These are a couple of things which have created this situation of lot of tension and distrust. And academics should be able to find out solutions with the help of those in bureaucracy. There should be no politics.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the issue has gone to the politics, and that is something which disturbs me.
Okay. Okay. So let me bring in the students now. And Riya Singh, Thakur Shivam Singh, and Sneshish Das. Riya, beginning with you. The concern is that there are a group of students who have met the UGC. They are of the opinion that there should be a rollback. As a Dalit rights activist, what are your concerns?
See, I second the opinions of what Mr. Subramanyam has said, that this guidelines that has been issued by UGC are not necessarily catering to SC and ST students. I think this protest and outrage from the students are also coming from the lack of their reading. It is merely a 7-page document, and I really doubt if people who are agitating against these guidelines have actually read it. These guidelines actually caters to SC, ST, OBC, EWS, women, sexual minority, PWD. So it directly nowhere says that it is catering directly to SC, ST people, and that is what the fear is of these students who are protesting. So I am in favor of welcoming such a guideline, which I think only 3 or 4 points that we can say is, one, it caters to largely all these groups. Second, I think it includes more accountability and transparency, where the universities are asked to upload on websites the status of the complaints and the number of grievances. Thirdly, I think the involvement of police. That's the new thing, that if there is anything that happens to any of these students, these group of people, which falls under the offense under the IPC.
Okay.
So that is anyway a crime. So why can't police be involved in such an offense? It is only facilitating the university to do that on behalf of students. And lastly, the penalty for the universities who do not do the compliance.
Okay.
So it is more around complying with the constitutional values.
Okay.
And holding the universities accountable. Then it has to do with the scheduled tribes and the scheduled castes.
Okay, let me bring in Shivam now. Shivam, the sense is that those protesting haven't really gone through the fine print. And there's a lot of assumption, which, and that is the reason why these protests. शिवम, ये सवाल आपसे था.
जी मैं सुन रहा हूँ, फिर से बोलें क्योंकि
मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो फाइन प्रिंट है, शायद जो प्रोटेस्टिंग स्टूडेंट्स हैं उन्होंने वो देखा नहीं है, और ये एक अजम्पशन के बेसिस पर ये प्रोटेस्ट शुरू हो गया है.
नहीं, ये बिल्कुल गलत है. सारा कुछ देखा गया है. आज मैं मुलाकात भी किया चेयरमैन से, यूजीसी के चेयरमैन से मैंने मुलाकात की, और मुलाकात करने के बाद सब कुछ क्लियर हुआ, जिसमें ये क्लियर किया गया कि जो 10 सदस्य की कमेटी बन रही है, ईओसी की मतलब इक्विटी कमेटी, उसमें कहीं भी किसी सामान्य वर्ग का प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं. और जो बहन जी ने कहा कि ईडब्ल्यूएस इसमें शामिल है, वो बिल्कुल गलत कह रही हैं. ईडब्ल्यूएस का कहीं नाम निशान नहीं है जी. उसको हो सकता है इन्होंने ना पढ़ा हो ढंग से, लेकिन मैं इनको बता रहा हूँ कि ईडब्ल्यूएस का कोई नाम निशान नहीं है उसमें. तो मेरा मानना यह है कि ऐसी कमेटियां, ऐसे कानून जो बनाई जा रही है ना, ये आगे चल करके बहुत बड़ी बाधा उत्पन्न करेंगी देश की अखंडता को लेकर के. और ऐसे समय में
लेकिन
हम लोगों को ये चाहिए कि
शिवम, ज्यादा इसका एम ये है कि इक्विटेबल सोसाइटी होनी चाहिए, और अगर डेटा अगर है और डेटा के बेसिस पे ये लाया जा रहा है, क्योंकि एक सेंस है कि रेगुलेशन अगर नहीं आएगा तो जो सर्टन ग्रुप्स, जो सर्टन सेक्शंस ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन फेस कर रहे हैं वो उनको प्रोटेक्ट नहीं किया जाएगा। ये अकाउंटेबिलिटी के लिए लाया जा रहा है।
नहीं 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 नहीं, आप समझी नहीं। अकाउंटेबिलिटी कैसी, एक बात बताइए, अकाउंटेबिलिटी के लिए तो लाया गया था SC/ST एक्ट, उसका आप NCRB के डाटा निकालिए, देखिए क्या निष्कर्ष निकलते हैं। एक इसी पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट की भी गाइडलाइन आई थी 2018 में झूठे मामलों को लेकर के, तभी तो उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने गाइडलाइन दी थी। लेकिन क्या हुआ कि देश की कुछ जनता जगी, कुछ लोग जगे और सड़कों पर उतरे और उन्होंने कानून को बदलवा दिया, ठीक है। और आज उस कानून की वजह से बहुत सारे डॉक्टर, बहुत सारे इंजीनियर, बहुत सारे ऐसे अच्छे जॉब करने वाले लोग जिन्होंने केवल उस डर से, अपने सम्मान को खोने के डर से आत्महत्या कर ली है। तो ऐसे कानून जो अभी तक छात्रों के लिए नहीं थे, छात्र अभी तक संगठित था, युवा पढ़ने की तरफ जो अग्रसर था, वो युवा कल एक दूसरे पर आरोप मरता हुआ नजर आएगा।
Snehashish, respond to that this is unnecessarily trying to create division among students.
See, I second Riya on that Shibam perhaps hasn't read the document properly, because the very first page, there is a section called objectives. In the objectives, economically weaker section is very prominently written. Okay, so as also Sir told, like it is trying to create certain community as criminal, but I don't find any section writes that the unreserved to be the criminal caste. It does not protect them because they don't need protection. It's an equity bill. It only says, it does not say who is criminal. So in that sense, if you see, it says caste discrimination that happens with SC/ST to OBC.
Okay, Snehashish, I'm going to fix your audio. Let's fix that audio because there is a problem with your network, and I'm going to come back to you. In the meanwhile, let me bring in R. Subramanyam again. Given your role in shaping the National Education Policy of 2020, Mr. Subramanyam, do you see these regulations really promote campus equity, or do they risk deepening caste divisions as Shivam was highlighting here?
It goes beyond the NEP's boundary. NEP has mentioned, has taken a very tactical approach of being a light but tight regulation. So that basically means that you really focus on the crux of the matter and be effective. Here, unfortunately, what happened is that they have expanded to 92% of the students. So therefore, I think this particular regulation, unfortunately, runs counter to the NEP spirit, and so it must be re-looked into. I'm very sure that it requires a
Since you are saying that there is a need for review, then would you then say that why bring the regulation at all?
No, this regulation would help, provided the definition is focused on the marginalized sections who are primarily scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. I think if it retains focus on that and not expand to the entire population, then it will be fine. I think that's one thing, because it has a good institutional mechanism. So I think by sharpening focus on the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, I think this particular regulation will go a long way in promoting equity.
Okay, let me bring in Snehashish Das again. Snehashish, if your audio is a little better now, please go ahead and finish your point.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now this is much better. Go ahead.
Yes, so my point was the very first page, it mentions in the objective section of objective that there is a mention of economically weaker section. So definitely what Shivam was saying, there was no mention of EWS, is just a misreading. And second, as Sir was saying, there was a creation of criminal caste, but it's not the case. There is no clause that says only the unreserved community can commit discrimination, because if a OBC person commits discrimination, even though the person is protected not to be discriminated, but there will be cases. It will go under the same investigation process. And the second thing is, the very see the data, there is a 118% hike in caste-based discrimination, and that is what is reported. In 2012, UGC regulations, there was no provision of consequences for the non-compliances. But this time, there is a consequence on the university on the non-compliance. This is exactly why the students are protesting right now,
Okay.
because this is nothing new.
Okay.
The discrimination and the regulation is nothing new. It's just the non-compliance, and they think when this is going to be implemented, their privilege is going to be questioned. They will lose their right to discriminate. And the whole
You're
point
saying the
they're
right
reverting
to discriminate. So who is
Obviously.
actually indulging in this right to discriminate? Who thinks that they have a right to discriminate?
Those who are protesting, they are the same people who have been protesting since the Mandal Commission.
Okay.
They think that when this guideline will be implemented, they will be accountable. And when they will be accountable, they cannot.
चलिए शिवम सिंह जी इसका जवाब दीजिए.
Their so-called natural right, birth right to discriminate.
मैं इसमें दास जिसे मैं पूछना चाहूंगा, ये किस अकाउंटेबिलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं? यही लोग हैं जो जेएनयू की दीवारों पर लिखते हैं ब्राह्मण बनिया भारत छोड़ो. क्या इनका भारत है? इनका भारत है? भारत हमारे बाप दादाओं ने खड़ा किया है. हमारे बाप दादाओं ने गर्दनें कटवाई हैं उसके लिए. हमारी लाशों की नींव पर भारत की नींव रखी गई है. क्या इनका भारत है जो बोलते हैं कि भारत छोड़ो?
ये अभी अगर आपको रिसेंट जेएनयू का रिसेंट केसेस अगर पता होगा,
मुझे खूब पता है, मैं रोज देखता हूँ. रोज आप लोगों का एक ही आता है. किसकी बात कर रहे हैं भाई आप लोग इसी मानसिकता से ग्रसित है कि कैसे सवर्णों को
जेएनयू का रिसेंट केसेस में there is a person named Shivam Dubey who evidently wrote Samar Bharat Chodo in the library.
सवर्णों ने शोषण किया. बिल्कुल नहीं.
He is being,
सवर्ण ने
and the case of atrocity is still going on. And the person who is saying there was a writing on Bharat.
वही लोग हैं जो सवर्णों को
There
भारत
was no scribble Brahman Bharat Chodo that was done by the students. Can you prove that? Can you prove that?
ये खून की
It has not been proved that both
अगर ये
students have written Brahman Bharat
और
Chodo.
ये अगर इतने जो है बाहुबली हैं, तो फिर ये दलित किस बात के? जब ये हमारे खून की नदियां बहाने की बात करते हैं, तो ये दलित किस बात के भाई? किस बात के डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की मांग कर रहे हैं? ये लोग इतने बाहुबली हैं कि बता रहे हैं कि सवर्णों इस देश को छोड़कर भाग जाओ.
कोई दलित आपको सवर्ण भारत छोड़ो ब्राह्मण भारत छोड़ो
जेएनयू की दीवारों पर लिखते हैं.
इसका कोई एविडेंस नहीं है.
Let me then bring JS Rajput. JS Rajput, what do you think is the way forward then? Here is an assurance which has come in from the Education Minister that they will ensure that there is no discrimination. Should there be a review or a rollback?
I am of the opinion that education is not only the social consequences as we are discussing here. There is much more that should happen in the campus, and that is social cohesion. This is one of the major concerns of the nation, and therefore, whatever be the reason behind it, a situation has been created that requires to be considered and solved immediately. Therefore, we must go to dialogue, talk to people, let the UGC call academics who are running institutions, who have the experience, who know how discrimination takes place, and who can find out the solution. Now, one sentence I would certainly like to say, that it would be very wrong to say that this particular group of castes or suburbs or whatever you call it is only responsible. No, it happens from other side also. It does happen, as has been pointed out by one of the persons here. I have experienced it. I have gone through those solutions and situations. Therefore, please do not put somebody in a category that you are the only culprits. This is not acceptable, and this will never be acceptable. Now, the consequence, there will be distrust. And this distrust is injurious to the national ethos, to the development of the country and development of the individual students. After all, we are converting the innocent persons, young persons, into personalities. We are giving them a personality. And when you are talking of the caste and all those things, this should not happen. The institution should, in the beginning of the academic year, design a certain program. You know, there were programs like community singing.
Okay.
It worked so well. There were camps for the students from different states, different languages.
Okay.
I conducted several such camps from Kerala, Kashmir, Tripura, Manipur, Gujarat, they come together, they quarrel, but when they stay for 1 month, when they depart, you see what a cohesive group they form.
Okay.
So such suggestions must come from UGC.
Okay.
It is not only a legal document that will help. Something more has to be done.
Okay, I think that's the right note on which we should end this discussion. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Rajput, Subramanyam ji, Riya Singh, Shivam Singh and Sneshish Das.